Hello, my name is David Gutierrez, and today I will be conducting an exercise for paraplegic athletes aged 15 to 25 how to play basketball. And with this exercise, I will be doing a number of drills in which include catching, passing, dribbling, and shooting the ball in no chronological order. And for the remainder of the video, I will be at a park and at a gym, as well as will be recording using my Meta AI glasses so I could better demonstrate these activities to this participant in which I gathered. Okay, so right now I'm here with my participant who will be acting out as the paraplegic individual learning basketball. And so the first thing we'll be teaching him today is learning how to dribble. And dribbling is very crucial in paraplegic basketball, as they must dribble for every 2 rolls that they give themselves. And so they cannot necessarily move too far without having to dribble the ball. So right now I'll be giving the ball to the individual, and with this they will be dribbling on their right hand. And so first off, to dribble you must have the ball in your hand and put it outside of your body and use your fingertips to bounce the ball, or your palm of your hand. It's strictly preference with the fingertips. It's really good for the light dribbling, and the palm of your hand is really good for the power dribbling. So whenever the participant is ready, they will then start dribbling. And so we'll continue observing until we see a familiarity of participant necessarily knowing how to dribble. And in this case, they do fairly well. They have a good sense of control. They have a good sense of tips, touching the tips with the ball. So then you can stop. And so now we're going to see the left side. Same exact thing, same exact motion. This is really good doing both sides, as we want to get that comfortability going, as well as getting both the dominant and the weak arms in sync with each other. So that way the individual is able to perform well without having to worry about having a weak side or a strong side. So once again, they look very familiar and comfortable with the ball, so then they could grab it. For this next drill, as we saw that the participant was comfortable with dribbling the ball on both left and right sides of the arm, we'll then instruct them to do a crossover dribble. And so this type of crossover dribbling is typically different than everyday basketball, as one, crossover dribble typically tends to happen in between the legs, behind the legs, in front of the legs. And as we can see that the participant is paraplegic, they are unable to do that. And so with paraplegic sports, what tends to be considered a crossover dribble is when the participant dribbles from one side of their body, grabs it with the other hand, and dribbles on the opposite side. And so we'll then give the participant the ball, and we will instruct them to dribble 3 times with whichever arm they prefer, grab the ball, and then dribble it 3 more times with the opposite hand, and continuously do that motion until said otherwise. So are you ready to begin? As you can see, this participant is fairly comfortable with doing this crossover dribble. Do it 2 more times. 1. And that is good. Thank you. In basketball, catching passes is one of the main fundamentals of the sport, as the participant must know how to control the ball, not just with dribbling, but catching and shooting and such. So without catching a ball, they cannot necessarily shoot, nor pass, nor dribble. And so with this being said, we'll be doing abundance of different types of passes throughout different areas of the court, ranging from side to front to side, so that way they have different familiarities and comfortability of different areas and angles of catching the ball. That way, in that game scenario, they are able and more aware of catching these passes. So to begin, I will see that the participant is ready, in which they are, and from then on out, I will be passing the ball. Ready? Once again, I'm just walking around, kind of just passing the ball from different angles. How does that feel? Very good. Participant does seem very comfortable with the ball. So from here, we could see that they are good to go for passing balls. So now I'll be teaching them how to throw passes. So in this video, I'll be teaching 3 different variations of passes. For the first one, it'll be chest pass. And so in order to do a chest pass, participant must grab the ball firmly with both hands side by side, put it as close to the chest as possible, and with decent to a fair amount of power, push forward to catch the pass. So in this sense, I will demonstrate it one time, and then I will see to the participant to do the same. And I will continuously do a back and forth motion until I see the participant fairly comfortable in learning how to do the chest pass. You ready? Okay. How does that feel? Good? And stop. For the next pass we'll be doing is bounce pass. And so it's fairly simple. It's just when the ball hits the floor towards their person that they're passing to. This is really good for those fast-paced scenarios when the teammate is driving forward towards the paint, and it's bounce pass for those fast breaks, so that way they could quickly go in for the score. And so right now, I will once again pass to him, and he will pass back to me until I see a familiarity in him knowing how to bounce pass. Are you ready? Yeah. Very good. Very good. How does that feel? 2 more times. 1 and 2. Nice. For the final pass we'll be doing is an overhead pass. This is really good for passing those long range distance passes towards from one side of the court to the other. And so I will demonstrate to the participant how to pass. Once again, you can grab it with either one hand, both hands, as long as it's kind of above your head towards the person who's throwing the ball or catching the ball. So are you ready? Nice. Good one hand. Good both hands. With aiming and precision, it takes much practice. So you cannot, in a sense, assume that they'll be good with passing precisely straight away, especially if they are learning this sport. 2 more and we'll stop. 1 more. Very good. Now, as we can see that the individual is comfortable with the variations of passing, we will then now instruct him to give me these passes as I call them out to different areas of the court to, in a sense, implement that in-game scenario where no matter the distance and the movement around the court as well. So to begin, I will give the participant the ball and I will walk around and I will instruct him, for example, chest pass. I'll pass him back the ball. I'll go over here, bounce pass. Overhead. Thank you. Chest pass. Bounce pass. Overhead. Thank you. And bounce pass. And as we can see that the participant is fairly comfortable in these passes as well as fairly accurate, we can then move on to the next drills. I'll be instructing the participant to shoot the ball from different areas of the court. And to start off, to shoot the ball, you must grab whichever hand you're comfortable with as your dominant hand or whatever as your shooting hand. And so, for example, this is my right hand. You want to grab the ball and put it fairly underneath the ball. You grab it with your fingertips and leave a sort of gap underneath the ball. And then finally, with your opposite hand, put it as your guiding hand, which would be on the side of the ball. And then from here, you would flick your wrist as if you were grabbing a cookie jar, or cookies from a cookie jar. And then that is typically a sort of analogy to use when you're trying to build that muscle memory, and a good analogy for shooting the ball. So with here, we're going to show the participant the ball and see to them that they shoot the ball accordingly. Very good. Very good. We'll shoot 3 more times in this. 2 more times. Very good. 1 more. The form was fairly good and the shooting was fairly good as well. And so from here we'll move on to the different areas. For this next drill, we push the participant further back to make greater distance from the court towards the participant, and this was used so that way we could implement a real game scenario, as not every opportunity you get for shooting the ball will be as close to the net as we were demonstrating earlier. So we have to build some sort of familiarity of having an understanding of shooting those far range shots for when not only are they open, but they can't get close to the net. So with this being said, we already know that they are comfortable with shooting the ball. We just need to get comfortable with shooting from a further distance. So whenever the participant's ready, which he demonstrated, we'll be his rebounder, give him the ball, and we'll make him shoot 10 times as he shot twice. Very good. Once again, precision and accuracy will come over time with repetitive motions and practice. There you go. As you can see, when he shoots, the form is really good. We'll give him about 5 more shots. Very good. Very good. 3 more. 2 more. Just 1 more. And very good. Shooting drill, we move the participant even closer than the last 2 areas, as we want to develop a sort of layup or backboard comfortability. So we'll give the ball to the participant and we will instruct them to shoot the ball using the top right corner of the square in the middle, closest to the court or to the rim. So that way they get familiar with using those backboard shots for when they're close towards the net. Whenever they're ready. Good. Once again, this is good for those contested scenarios where they don't have a good look towards the rim. And so they need to use the backboard to shoot the ball. As we can see from majority, the participant seems and looks fairly comfortable with the shot and has fairly good accuracy of hitting that corner. How do you feel? Good? We'll give him 2 more shots before we call it. 1 and 1 more. Nice. So with this being said, we're officially done with the shooting drills and we'll move on to the final drill, which will be an exercise specifically used as a simulation for wheeling themselves forward. Hello. And for our final exercise that we'll be doing for this video will be a sense of wheelchair rolling simulation. And so I've instructed the participant to grab these cables and to have him in a ready position. And so what he's going to be doing from here on out is, in a sense, kind of simulating as if he was rolling himself on the wheelchair. And so on your mark, get set, go. So the participant is just pushing in a sense of kind of involving the shoulders, triceps, and chest. Once again, this is the simulation as if they're rolling, and this is really so they have resistance towards themselves, and that way they have a good form and posture. And this is also really good for when they're playing in a real life game. They have that strength to continuously power themselves forward with the resistance of the defenders guarding them. So after 2 more reps, the participant will finish. And 1 more. Good. Alrighty. So as we reach the end of the exercise, this whole video was focused on how I would typically teach a paraplegic athlete how to play basketball, in which obviously I don't believe that I was able to do all the required information in terms of specifics and other drills and such that might be needed for these paraplegic athletes. But I do feel that I got majority of the fundamentals needed in order to play the sport, in which build a great foundation and further on move forward with basketball.